What is happening, everybody? It's Spark and welcome to the first episode of my Team Career Mode series. As you will have seen from the opening clip, the APS Spark Racing has officially launched, and with your votes counted in, you decided that I'll be having a Honda engine for this season, that I will be focusing more on durability, and we've signed a sponsor with a bigger gradual payout over the season, with the Icon teammate decided to be Ayrton Senna after the eventual coin toss at the moment. So looking at the Icon teammates, actually, seeing they're all free agents at the moment, ranking by gold, silver or bronze depending on skill sets and probably popularity or championships won. But nevertheless, we've got Ayrton Senna, who's lucky he's a gold teammate, so we have to save up quite a bit to get to him, unfortunately. So we also got Felipe Massa, David Coulthard there with the background there. So yeah, that is our goal. We're not going to be able to sign Senna immediately, and there were a few changes that I had to make sort of behind the scenes. Now I'm going to make some unsanctioned decisions to purchase some driver perks just to make getting through the season a little bit more worthwhile. But I have made a few changes after trying to film the first sort of episode on half race distance of just transitioning to wheel. That is rather hard, so what I've had to do instead, I've had to put a few sort of simulation things down and shorten the race distance to only 25% just so I can crank out enough episodes in time at a regular enough pace for you guys. So as you would have seen now, I've spent a few resource points on some aerodynamic upgrades because we were lacking very much. No, we think we actually had 0 compared to the rest of other departments. Now I'm deciding what I'm deciding to do for the day. So we got a department sale to raise some cash for us, and following the eventual car reveal, which you actually saw at the beginning of this episode, we are going to be doing a driver camp for our newly signed driver. Unfortunately, once I restart this career mode, I wasn't able to sign Robert Schwartzman, so instead we have got Nobuharu Matsushita in his place. And Matsushita, if you saw him in Formula 2, we saw he was a very speedy driver, but sadly just didn't quite make his way, unfortunately, coming into Formula 2. So while we're looking at the messages there, we have the first race this season at the Bahrain Grand Prix, because obviously with COVID and everything taking its place, unfortunately there's 3 tracks that we're missing so far. As we know, it's Imola, Portimao, and we're going to be missing Jeddah as well. So there's quite a bit of time in between the first few races. I think they've actually put in some season breaks in their place. So as of now, it is our first race as a team. APS Spark Racing is coming alive. And at the end of this episode, if you keep sticking around, you guys will see that I will be leaving some key decisions for you guys, the audience, to make. So whatever happens, if you get your votes in, before the time scales, your decisions will have a massive impact on what I do in my career mode. So this is effectively, you could call this your career mode, in a way. But nevertheless, we come up to our first career mode race in Bahrain. Looking at the timescales there, so as you'll see, I would have had to tone things a little bit down somewhat. So the practice modes are only going to be about half an hour long. Qualifying mode will be full, but the race distance will only be 25%.
Morning, boss. Jeff here. Thanks again for bringing me on board. You've found a lot of talented people for this team. I can't wait to see what we can accomplish. Our journey to the Constructors' Championship starts here today, and the car is ready to head out whenever you are.
As ever, we have the reliable, the best advice giver in the world, Jeff, with us in this team. So, looking around, things have changed somewhat since the Formula 1 2020 career mode in terms of the sort of practice sessions or the development sessions that you have within the practice sessions. What's happened is that all the sort of smaller goals that you have, with whether it's developing upgrades or little goals over the season, they will give you a development boost. Now, I'm not quite sure what that means in terms of our development, but nevertheless, we are going to try a practice session now for tyre management and see how the cranks on there. This is a nice moment. APS Spark Racing has finally come out alive, but unfortunately I'm still not quite with it yet in terms of transitioning to the wheel. So as you would have seen, my exit of the pit lane was rather shocking, unfortunately. So it's something you're just going to have to stick with me for now, but you will see gradual improvement from myself over the season as the tyre mode practice, as the tyre management session begins to start there. As you come down there to the first corner there, it's so hard. With these slower corners, it is so easy to take life out of your tyres, and that makes getting through the practice session, getting that purple score much harder, especially this one, this notorious left-hander here in Bahrain, that unfortunately, if you don't get right in your braking, it will either eat your tyres alive or make you crash into a barrier, or it will more than likely do both. It's just depending on what kind of day you're having.
We managed to pace well that lap, and tyre wear is more or less as expected.
So as you can see, 2 of the 3 goals there are getting filled up, so that means more and more development boosts for us coming into outside of the when we go back to R&D after the end of each race. I like these new changes. It gives you a bit more of incentive to stay out there, beyond sort of me sort of trying to be a perfectionist. It gives you more incentive to go out there and stay out and try to nail these practice sessions even more. So I think that's a really, really nice change that that's been brought to the table from both EA and Codemasters. So it's not too bad of a change there. So we go down into the qualifying session. I ended up doing a purple time there, which isn't too bad for practice. I managed to tick all the boxes as well. And because I missed the other one for the time management piece, I had to go back and sort that one out as well. So looking on the table, we got onto P3 there, which it isn't actually representative of where we're actually going to be, because we're a new team, for crying out loud. We're not going to get very far. So once the second practice session came around, I went to try the race strategy practice. So it was just this usually we do about 3 or 4 laps just so you can save tyres, save fuel, and try and match the pace. So as you'll see there, coming out of the first corner, I'm still trying to sort out this sort of brake pedal, so I might have to change the sort of wheel setting for the brake pedal in terms of like the travel. So I'm not quite getting the quite putting foot in. And again now I'm not quite getting the my feet all the way down to full brake at the moment, so now I haven't quite found the sweet spot yet. So, and look at that, it'll take too much curb coming into the right hander there. So this is a very tricky section, especially with that corner. But mind you, the last 2 laps I did actually get round to setting consistent lap time, so which meant I took a little bit out of my tyres there. So you wouldn't have seen it, but I actually hit 2 out of the 3 sort of targets, so I can get the development boosts to develop the car. And these long right handers, as soon as you feel them on the wheel, it definitely feels so much better coming into there. So I love the exit of that corner coming up straight into P5 there. So Jesse, our goals really for this race is that if we could get into the points, that would definitely be an achievement for us. I'm not expecting to get into Q3 in qualifying, but a nice appearance in Q2 rather would be much better for us. So once I finished the 3rd lap, I managed to complete the extra goal. So practice 2, I was mainly looking at race strategy there, so the times there aren't really that representative of where we're going to be. But nevertheless, it's 2 decent practice sessions where I've hit all of the targets there. Practice 3, when that came around, I've already hit the targets that we needed, and I needed to come around to actually film the qualifying and race. So what we end up going to do here is skip practice 3 and come round into all the way through into qualifying, just so we can get round to fully filming the episode in good time. So once we're going to, you will have the option there to go into quick practice, see you can sort of simulate. So I think that's the next step in sort of simulating practice sessions, see if you can get those developmental boosts. I look like such a dork there right next to Nobuharu Matsushita. He looks like he means business, and then it's just me who is just the living meme at the moment. So discounts. Okay, so the developmental boost there was they're all applying to the engines. So, but I got all of them, but I didn't really seem to reap the rewards of only the power one. So I'm not quite sure. It may be sort of relative to what Matsushita does. So to me, that makes it even more important to really train your second driver there to make sure the driver's hitting all the practice goals, just to make sure that the developmental boosts are all accounted for. So anyway, we get onto our first qualifying session there as the APS Spark Racing team. We only go onto the softs. Part-way rules are sort of applying. If we go out in Q1, I suppose I can sort of accept that, but Q2 really is the aim, and we go out straight away into a flying lap, and we're just getting ourselves ready to start. So I tell you what, I really like these sort of stickers you could put onto the Halo. Like the sound one, I just think looks absolutely brilliant. It's a nice addition that they've added to F1 2021. So we come round now to start our first qualifying lap ever as APS Spark Racing. The headlights there just to give a little bit more of an angle. So we get the car stopped just enough there to go through into the first braking zone. Thankfully the traction doesn't eat us alive, stays with us there, so it doesn't end up spinning, unfortunately. So that's really, really good there. We come down into the second corner there. Overall it was quite a tidy lap. coming outside, finishing the first one. So thankfully I didn't do too badly with the wheel. Thankfully the pedal worked and I was able to turn it in the right places. So we can't do now to start off, and it's a 1 minute 28.4, which I gotta be honest, I was very much happy with that, but I wasn't entirely confident it was going to get me through. Thankfully it did. We go through into P14 now, so we get through into Q2, so our first sort of big goal is achieved for us at least. Unfortunately, Matsushita didn't quite manage to get there into Q2, unfortunately, so I think it's a bit work need to do in the simulator for him. Coming out into the Q2, I don't think we're going to bother even trying to put the mediums on. We are just going to go for the softs and see how things go. We're just going to put it down to 1 lap, so I've sped up the time to get to about, I think about 3 or 4 minutes just before the session ends. So if the track would have rubbered in enough, we could put on a minimum amount of fuel, we can go out and absolutely nail the lap. So yeah, so far it's a decent achievement for us. We've got through into Q2. So now everything else at the moment is just a bonus for us. We are coming down now into the first turn. We get it stopped just well enough in time. And thankfully I managed to get the replay angle on the time just so we can get enough of a cinematic view of how we're doing here. Coming now into turns, I think 4, I believe. Yeah, turn 4. Thankfully we just get it stopped there. The curb thankfully just doesn't punish us. That's one thing I found with this game, is that the curbs are ridiculously punishing. And particularly the ones in Australia when I was doing time lapse around there. You mess with them, like the one just came out the left-hander there. If you get too greedy with the accelerator, it will just send you off into oblivion. So the curbs here, I think they may need to be patched coming later on. So we brake very early though for the tight left-hander here, just to make sure that the car's actually stopped in time. I still couldn't trust really with the brake pedal, just to make sure I was getting enough travel to be able to stop it where realistically I wanted to. So it's not quite well enough there. Mind you, the left-hander there was still well enough. Thankfully there's enough traction in it and enough grip just to make sure I can plant the throttle down and make sure that the car sticks. So we take a little bit more curb there coming up to the final section of the lap. Now it's just straights and 1 left-hander, but we've got to get a good exit out here now. Who knows where we're going to end up? It's one of our best laps in our first qualifying section as APS Spark Racing. So we're coming up to the line. What time do we do? It's P11, unfortunately. It's P11, so we don't quite get into Q3. It's a 1 minute 28, I think, flat. So, nevertheless, it's a very, very strong result for us at APS Spark Racing. We just missed out on Q3, but we start in P11, which is exactly where we want to be in terms of strategy. That means the highest place available when you get free choice of tyres, and fuel and everything could be adjusted around that. So that is a brilliant, brilliant
Amazing
debut result for us.
there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
You bet your ass we are, sweetheart.
It looks like you've really been focusing on research and development this season.
Well, we focus more on durability because that's what the board obviously wants, but moving up, we've got to give the aero...
Well, that's everything.
We've got to give the aero department a little bit of credit there, because they've only got 1 or so upgrades at the moment, and really that's something that we do need to build on, while we still want that emphasis on durability. So I'll make sure that's carried out as per your decision as the audience, and really the team runners of APS Spark Racing. So P18 for Matsushita, he may be able to make up some places, but it's a great start for us in our debut race as APS Spark Racing. It's coming up now. Let's see what the race has in store.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice, and they've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Vettel, Leclerc, Stroll and Carlos Sainz, Joker, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly and Tsunoda, Ocon, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nobuharu Matsushita, Russell, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin and Nicholas Latifi. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
I'll be letting myself down more than honest, Chef, and I'll probably be letting the audience down most of all, because essentially it's our team, we're doing this together. I will do my best to carry the flag for you guys into this race for the Bahrain Grand Prix, our first race as a new team, and man, I'm excited. I'm excited to carry the flag for APS Spark Racing for you guys. So we're going to go from soft to mediums. It's only 25% race. And here we go then, 5 lights are on. What's going to happen to us today? It's game on in Bahrain, lights out, away we go. It's not a bad start from us, a little bit slow though, but unfortunately Alonso comes up around us there, absolutely mugs us from the start. So it's very much like the sprint race that happened today at the British Grand Prix. Brilliant start there from Fernando Alonso there. So unfortunately he just mugs us there. We've fallen down the order somewhat, so it's not the best start for us, but we have kept it on the road, which is the important thing. Unfortunately we are down, I believe, to 13th place. Not great for us. We come down now to turn 4. We just got to settle down, find our rhythm and make sure that the opportunities come to us a little bit later on. So it was a poor start for us. I'm still trying to figure out starts with this racing wheel. So with the overtake on, it's just my sort of strategy was to short shift essentially as fast as you can, which does help to eliminate wheel spin, but the problem is if you don't get on the gas early enough you just lose potential speed. So nice slow-mo shot there for you guys of me making it through turn, I think it was turn 10 there alive. We're coming up to the straight now. We have been mugged unfortunately by Carlos Sainz, so he is our target to pounce on. The Ferrari engine itself isn't too bad. I mean, it's got to be a step up from the absolute tractor that was the engine last year, but Carlos Sainz making the most out of a bad start. He's mugged us unfortunately, so let's see if we can get past him coming up into turn 1 there. So we're still holding our ground. It's a good start though for Matsushita. Matsushita has made a few places as we kind of expected him to do so, so not a bad start there for our second driver Matsushita. So we still have to make some work in the simulator race for him though. However, it's up to P13 now for us. So coming up now, it's lap 3 and DRS is now in place. So we've got to stay with Carlos Sainz here because we are not very good off this corner when it comes to traction. So if we just stay with him, we've at least got DRS to protect ourselves from Esteban Ocon behind. The Renault engine isn't the fastest, but I know the way those cars are set up, particularly the way their philosophy was last year, they are set up for straight line speed. So Esteban Ocon is still very much a threat to us from right behind. So we've got to stay with Carlos Sainz, and we've gone down. Here we are now. The opportunity is presenting itself to us coming up to the end of lap 4. Sainz is right there. We have still about 2 or 3 tenths now. This is our opportunity. We've got the overtake and DRS deployed. Sainz is DRS as well.
Pit window, you'll be on the mediums.
I don't care about strategy right now. We've got to beat the Ferrari up to the line. We go round the outside. He's still fighting us there, but we've got more than enough traction coming out of the corner. We have just overtaken the Ferrari. The newbie team, APS Spark Racing, has overtaken the Ferrari coming out into the start of lap 5 though of this 25% race at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Not bad from us though, but we've got to hold on to that position. We've got a very wary Fernando Alonso ahead of us here. Alonso, as you know, is a very brutal defender and he's a very opportunist driver as well, making opportunities left, right and centre. But nevertheless, we come up to the end of this lap and Alonso right in front of us hasn't got DRS though, but we have, and we've got overtake as well. So there should be relatively easy pickings to overtake the two-time world champion. We're to go round to the inside there. We should have him covered coming round into the first corner. But Alonso fights us back. He fights us back. But we have got the move soundly done. So I wasn't that confident there in the braking section. I'm still trying to find my feet with the brake pedal. But we have just passed Fernando Alonso and a Ferrari on our debut as APS Spark Racing. Absolutely unreal for us here.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
It's lap 7 now, so we are going to come in and box. It's about 50 mile an hour speed limit there, so we had to get the car slowed down. I may change it actually to kilometers to show it's a little bit more accurate. It's a little bit easier for me to actually stop, so we've got to come down there. Let's see what kind of pit stop our boys can do.
Go now.
Nice, not bad on your first race, lads, not bad. You've got to say you have kept us in contention here. There's a possibility of drivers.
Now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Thank you, Jeff, interrupting me there. So there's a possibility of some drivers maybe having undercut us coming into the final stint of the race. We did stay out a lot longer though than everybody else, but we're going to have that little lap of extra rubber that may come in very, very useful to us. So at the end of lap 8, most of the drivers are coming now into the pits. We are in P10, so as of now, we are in the points. We are in the points now for APS Spark Racing, which would be an absolutely brilliant debut for us, but we have got to hold off the Ferrari behind us. So it's going to be a very, very tough ask, but we have not quite got the pace of the Ferraris in front of us. So we've got to make sure that we stay ahead, make sure that we get a lot more confident under traction, so we can plant the throttle there and finally adapt to the wheel and make sure we stay ahead of Carlos Sainz. I'm thinking with the more confident I get with the wheel, I think I'm definitely going to be upping the difficulty in the sim settings, and just to make sure that the challenge is sort of appropriate now for me once I adapt more and more. So that's something I may make as a decision as part of the end of one of my videos. So I will let you guys know in fact you'll see how confident I get once I start finishing quite higher up. So I'll let you guys make the call on what I decide to do there. But it's lap 11 now, so 3 laps to go, and we have caught up to the back of the other Ferrari now, Charles Leclerc. This track doesn't seem to be suiting the Ferraris for some reason. It's not particularly strong. I'm not quite sure they're not quite there yet in terms of mechanical grip. Aerodynamic, I'm not quite sure where it is there, but the power unit I think is sort of recovering. It looks like the second fastest power unit, I believe, in the game there. So here we are now. It's the end of the 11th lap. We are coming up to Charles Leclerc there. Can we pass the second Ferrari now and round off what could be a brilliant debut for us? We go down to the inside of the first corner there. Our favourite overtaking spot, it seems. We are leaving just enough room. Leclerc fights us, but we have taken 9th position away from the Ferrari, and now we set ourselves after the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll there. So Mercedes engine at the back of that thing. A lot to play for here, and what a brilliant debut it has been so far for us, carrying the flag for APS Spark Racing, and you guys, the audience there, for voting on your decisions, purely being reflecting on what is a good performance now for our debuting team. So we come up behind there. It's coming up to lap 13 now. Lance Stroll is in our sights. DRS overtake on. Are we going to go down to the inside? Yes, we are. Late braking there. Go down the inside of Lance Stroll. He fights us there. Not quite confident yet. Leave enough room for the Aston Martin there. But we are now in 8th position there. 4 lovely points for a debuting team. What a brilliant result it is so far. We have got to stay there though. Lance Stroll will be coming back at us though. It's a Mercedes engine at Aston Martin. I saw on the graphic actually they seem to be the 3rd fastest team at the moment. So we have got a mountain job on our hands. Bearing in mind that we're a new team. We still haven't got quite the pace that we want to be. And I'm still very much adapting to the wheel. As you'll see, the arrows behind me. Stroll is so close now. We have got to hold my nerve. He has got DRS though, coming up into the final lap.
Of the race.
Yes, Jeff, it is the final lap of the race. We know. So we go a little bit aggressive there into fencing there for Lance. He stays round to the back of us. He's so close there, so close, but if we put a foot wrong traction at anything, we are losing that potential 8th position there. Well, it wouldn't reflect badly on us, it wouldn't reflect badly on me as well, and my sort of talents or lack thereof as a F1 game driver. So it seems we've held on for now though. We're doing the best to maximise everything there. We've got the tyre life there, as it's a 25% race. Not quite locking the not quite locking everything there. We short shift earlier there to get us the maximum run out coming into the notorious left-hander that I absolutely loathe. I think America has a similar track to that as well. With overtake on, we've got to counter Lance. He's coming to us though. While this isn't the best DRS zone in the track, it's certainly a DRS zone that can certainly put you on the ragged edge if you don't get your exit wrong. Thankfully for us, we kept the exit right. We are coming down to the final section of the lap. I believe it's Mercedes up front, so I think Lewis Hamilton will win the race. So there you see it, Lewis Hamilton has won the first race of the championship. It's the Bahrain Grand Prix and he has taken the race. Not quite the best that we got in real life for the Bahrain Grand Prix, but it's still a win nevertheless for the Mercedes. We are going to come up to the line though. A little tank slapper there, but we still keep it on stay. We come along the finishing line. It's 8 plates for us.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Smiling faces on the pit wall after a superb win here at Sakir. And rightly so. What a brilliant effort from the whole team. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
But they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
We certainly deserve a little bit of celebrations as well for APS Spark Racing. Never mind what's going on here in the podium. As Grosjean said when he debuted for Haas, this is like a win for us, and it feels very much so.
Championship. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
Nobuharu Matsushita gets my vote today.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes move to the top of the table. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for...
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
And somehow Matsushita of all people got driver of the day. I don't quite understand how that works. Not sure what Anthony Davidson was drinking there.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
I certainly hope they are thrilled, and I'm certainly thrilled as well.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Cheers for that, Cat. I'm a little gobsmacked by that. I scored points for us for crying out loud, and Nobuharu Matsushita gets driver of the day, but I'm not going to take anything away from him. He still finished well. He made places for us, so fantastic. So the team acclaim goes up to 3 now. Our driver acclaim goes up to 2. So once we get to 5, we can unlock a new sponsor. So another 100k payout for us as well. So we got 1.49 million to play with now in terms of money, and I think we have nearly 1,500 resource points as well to decide what we're going to do there. For the next race, we are going to be in the Spanish Grand Prix, so round 2 of 20 in the shortened calendar after the DLC, before the DLC comes out. We have got some key decisions to make now, guys. So with 1.5 million, the first decision is going to be which department do you want me to invest in right now. So between the aerodynamic chassis and the powertrain departments, we can invest in quality control, so they are 3 choices there. We could also choose to invest in personnel, so we can develop Matsushita skills, or marketing, just so we can help boost gains for potential sponsors. So that's one decision. The second decision, resource points. What do you want me to upgrade in terms of the car? We got 1,440 to play with. Do you want to capitalize on the powertrain development boost, or do you guys maybe want to see a bit more focus elsewhere, particularly with the aerodynamics? So that one doesn't have, our car's not particularly strong there in terms of aerodynamics, so there may be something to consider, but I will let you guys make the decision for that. So I will be leaving the straw poll links in the bio as well, so if you watch this video, do get on those polls and let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to invest our time and money in as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an absolute thrill having you guys along for the ride. And If you like the episode, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. We would love to have you as part of the team, as part of APS Spark Racing. We would love to have you get involved in having all these polls around to make the key decisions, to make sure what you want is reflected within this series. I would love to have you guys on the board of the team as we go on further into our first season of My Team Career Mode. So, once again guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Spark, you guys have been Brill, and I will see you guys for the next race in Spain. Bye bye.